Hello, welcome to the Northwest Knitter YouTube podcast. My name's Dina and I live in a suburb of Tacoma, Washington, and this is my very first episode, so welcome. I've been thinking about doing this for a couple years now. My husband has encouraged me. Mowry of the Colorado Knitter always encourages people to join the YouTube world, so I'm taking her advice along with my husband's, and here I am. I'm going to use a similar format to other YouTubers because I really enjoy that. I enjoy learning and being inspired from others. I'm excited to become a part of the community. When you listen to other YouTubers, they talk about what a great community this is, and just those that they meet and encounter. I think that would be wonderful to be able to have that community close by. So, welcome. Like, subscribe, let me know where you're from and if you're a Northwest Knitter as well. All right, so I'm going to start with I have just a couple of projects I want to cover. Mainly one to just kind of familiarize myself with how to make videos and discuss and talk about things, and make sure that I cover all the things like the pattern, yarn, all of that kind of good stuff. So I have my Ravelry pulled up in front of me. I'm Northwest Knitter 25 on Ravelry. So you can find me there. I will link my project pages down below so you can take a look at them a little bit closer so you can see what it is I've chosen as far as yarns go. So I'm going to start with the most recent Stephen West mystery shawl that he did this year. And so this is the MKAL by Stephen West. And oh my goodness, I so enjoy Stephen West's mystery knit-alongs. They are so intricate. You will learn exciting new techniques and ways to knit and construct things. I would highly recommend joining along. He has great tutorial videos that go along with each of his mystery shawls that he does. It's just a great fun thing to participate in. So that is this pattern. I'm going to stand up so you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, isn't that just amazing? So this is made with sport weight yarn. Has great, like, you learn brioche techniques, this like fun lattice basket weave thing, and then the diamonds here. Along with each of these, you do like a welt pattern, and then kind of this is like sound waves here. So pretty. Just love this. Super squishy, just beautiful. So I made this with Bare Naked Wool New Zealand Sport, and that's this brownish color here. It's called Nutmeg. Barefoot Yarn Company Stalker Sport, and the colorway is called Fairy Ring, and that's this white speckly. And then I use Vitellana Oasis, and that's the red here. Colorway is Tucson, sorry, got that wrong. And then the last one, the yellow one here, is Yarn Art Merino Sport in the color yellow. So I just pulled the 4 colors from my stash and just kind of put together my own color palette based on all of that. But yeah, gorgeous, love it. Would highly recommend this pattern or any other of his mystery shawls. This is my second one that I've completed. I attempted a third one a few years ago and I really didn't enjoy that pattern, mainly because I knew I would not wear the product in the end, and it was the one that kind of looked like bat wings, for lack of a better way of describing it, but I just did not. The techniques in it were really neat and nifty to learn, but like I said, I just knew I wouldn't wear the project in the end. So yeah, so that's the first finished object I'm going to share with you. My second finished object is a little stuffed sheep. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. So this is Lou Merino. Just so cute. Isn't that fun? So this is a pattern by Toft. And I really enjoyed making it because I like the construction part of it. So like with the head and the ears and the shaping of the snout and everything, just came out so good. Arms and legs. You can see there's like a twist in the leg, but you know what? When he sitting, you don't really notice that. And so just so fun. And then the fur is made with chains. So this is a crocheted pattern. So it's made with chains, and then you just attach them, and then you just do that throughout the body. And you can do them closer together or further apart, and you end up with just fur. On this pattern, the fur was to continue up on the head and the arms, but I chose to just stop at the torso because I just thought, oh, that's just so cute. Almost makes it look like they have a little outfit on. But yeah, so cute. So this sheep came out of this little book from Toft, and it has a ton of different sheep that you can make, all kinds. This little guy is so cute. I'd love to make him. So if you're interested in books or patterns, you can go to the toftuk.com website, and you can be able to look up more there. But yeah, these sheep are just so cute. So fun. This one is Deborah the Curie Hill. Here's Molly. Sorry, showing you the wrong one. It's Molly. So you can see mine came out a little bit more like Molly, but I actually was making the Lou Merino sheep, but didn't put together all of the various, you know, the added fur all over the body. So, but this was, like I said, a fun amigurumi to put together. Really enjoyed that project. I don't have anybody in mind for it yet. I do have a new grand niece. She's probably about 4 months old, so I'm thinking maybe next year as a Christmas gift, this might be a good idea. So for now, she'll just sit up here with my other amigurumis and stuffies that I've been collecting. So you can see here, this is a emotional support chicken. Enjoyed making that. Not sure I'd make it again because it's pretty good size. And then this here is a Scrappy cat. That's what I call it. So if I remember, I'll pull them down sometime and tell you a little bit more about them. Oh, let me tell you about the yarn. So the yarn, again, I just pulled from Stash. These are worsted weight, and they are just basic acrylic yarn. This one I believe I got at Michael's. Can't remember the name of it. And then this was a Joann's party yarn. Unfortunately not available anymore since Joann's is closed, but yeah, so again, just pulled from scraps and Stash for that. So cute, so fun. So those are the two finished objects that I'm going to talk about. Next I'm going to talk about some whips and projects that I have on the go. All right, so we're going to start with some Scrappy blankets. I have two. I have a lot of scraps I've been collecting, and want to make sure I use them in a good way. So I am actually working on a Scrappy granny blanket and then a Scrappy jelly roll. So we're going to start with the Scrappy granny square blanket that I have. This one is in progress, so not super long yet, but I think this is about the width I'm going for. Again, lap blanket size and DK weight yarns. So you can see that each square is just 2 rows of the granny, and then I do 2 rows of single crochet with the main color that pulls them all together. I'm not using a particular pattern for this, but just pulling them together. So it's about 13 squares across, and I'm using a size 4 crochet hook, 4mm crochet hook. And basically, when I get about 26 squares done, I join them together in a long strip. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, here we go. Let me show you this side. This is kind of hard to show you, but so basically I will join them together this way. So I'll take 2 squares, join. I'll take the next 2 squares and join and join. So then I end up with the 26 attached together, and then I take the time to take those 26 and then I attach it to the blanket part. Again, just joining. This minimizes the amount of ends you need to weave in, because as you can imagine, with granny squares and this many and this size, there are a ton of ends to weave in. Let me grab a ruler and I can show you about how big each square ends up being. So here, let's see if I can do this. So here you can see that they are about 2.5 inches in diameter, or in length and width. So 2.5 inches across. So ton of ends to weave in. So if you do not like that, I do not recommend this project. The other thing that I'm doing when I attach them is I'm going through the back loops only, and what it does is it creates this nice little ridge. And so the back loops only of each square, so that you create this nice little ridge, and it just gives it a little bit more texture in there. All scrappy DK weight yarns. If it's a fingering weight, I do hold 2 together, and these are just all kinds, all mixed together. The joining yarn is a cashmere that I picked up off of Temu. Trying to see if I do have one. Hang on, let me grab that. So it's this yarn here. It's called Cashmere Every Shine, and I picked this up off Temu because I wanted to try it and see what Temu's yarn was like. It's a very thin, so it's a fingering weight. So I hold that double to do my single crochets around the outside, and then single when I'm joining them together. And they come in a bag of 6, so you get quite a bit in a bag of yarn. And I gotta say, it's soft to the touch, easy to work with. I find it to be really, a decent workhorse yarn. I don't know how it washes and all of that yet because I haven't washed this blanket, but yeah, so that's the main color that I'm using all the way around. So, scrappy blanket number 1. Scrappy blanket number 2 is my version of a jelly roll. So, Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears YouTube channel, I just absolutely adore watching. So if you like knitting and like a little bit of history lesson about the UK, they are a joy. It's a married couple that have built a business around just video content and information around knitting, and so fun. So I would highly recommend checking them out. So Kay Jones came up with the jelly roll blanket, and she has a join as you go method that I didn't really like, and I also wanted a project I could take on the go with me, that I could have in the car or I could have anywhere at any moment, something that was just very mindless knitting and easy to do. And I found that if I work on a strip, then I'm able to just kind of knit back and forth, and then I will finish those and then join them in the end. And I actually prefer this join better because I like the way it looks. So let me show you what I have so far. So this is my version of the jelly roll. This is, I'm going to do it this way because this is the width, and that's going to make a great lap blanket. So this is the width, and I definitely have a few more strips to go. And I'm just going to keep joining until I get to the length that I like. I don't have a set number for that. So what I do is I just knit, so I cast on 25 stitches. So I cast on 25 across, and then I create a 2-stitch I-cord on both sides. And then I just knit the strip, for as long as, you know, I need to, or I think I need to, and then I sew them together. And so I like this join better where you have the two I-cords coming together. And like I said, I just mattress stitch back and forth all the way down. What I found though is that even if I measure and I try to work on a specific strip and knit it to the length that I'm looking for, that when I go to attach it, based on the yarn weight and how, you know, stretchy it ends up being, that I find that either I'm knitting too much or too little. So I kind of knit till I think I'm about the right length, then I attach it. I don't bind off yet. And then when I get to the end, I just keep knitting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then I attach it as I go till I get to the right length, and then I bind off. Works out really well. So again, my version, and all DK weight yarns or fingering held double. And this is knit on a, ooh, let me look and see what, let me see if I can find that real quick and tell you what needle I'm using. There we go. I'm using a 2.75 millimeter needles. 2.75. Yeah. I just love this scrappy quilted look. Oh, it's fantastic. I usually have it sitting on the back of my blue chair over here, and I love walking into my room and seeing it there and just, oh, I love it. Love it. So yeah, jelly roll. There are a couple of different versions out there working on that join, and like I said, mine, I just didn't care for any of those. So I like the I-cord edge because it gives it that nice finished look. And even if when I go to finish it, I don't have to put a border on it because it's just basically done. So I have two other whips I'm going to talk about, and we're going to start with a Seahawks inspired. So I live in the Northwest, Seattle, the Seahawks. I'm a big fan. They're having a great season. I'm excited to see what happens as they go. But I was realizing when I was looking at my wardrobe that I really didn't have a knitted Seahawk item, and I was like, what's wrong with me? I need to work on that. So I picked up, I was looking through my stash. Okay, what do I have? What can I use? I have a lot of worsted weight kind of sitting over here, and that's what I was looking at. And I was trying to figure out, okay, well, is there a worsted weight pattern I can work on? And so what I came up with was Andrea Mowry's Framed. It's that beautiful sweater that has like a quilt colorwork motif on it. Oh, so cute. And so this is my version of the Framed. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, I love it. So I'm making the size 4, and I'm using, I love this yarn, worsted in navy. The green, the lime green is Karen Simply Soft. And then the blue color changing yarn, this is, oh my goodness, just had it in my head. Unforgettable. Karen Unforgettable. No, Red Heart Unforgettable. In the colorway, hang on. Colorway Title. So Red Heart Unforgettable in the color Title. So just had the right amount of blues and greens in there that I thought would make great for a Seahawks inspired. So for this, I said I was making the size 4 based on bust size and all of that. It just seemed like the one that I wanted to make. So let me see what size needles I'm using. I'm using a 4 millimeter for the ribbing and then a 4.5 millimeter for the color work. But yeah, I just started this yesterday, by the way. I couldn't resist. One thing you'll learn from me is that I have a lot of whips. I really need to work on finishing things. And so I have a plan this next year that I'm kind of curious to see how well that will work out. And I think I'll talk about that in my next video. But right now I'm just trying to figure out how to make videos and talk to you guys. So yeah, Andrea Mowry's framed. My next project is also an Andrea Mowry pattern, and that is the Vellichor. So this year I got the Knitty McPurly Advent, and I love her yarn. I love her YouTube channel as well, so I would recommend watching Knitty McPurly. She has a yarn dyeing studio, and just comes up some really brilliant colors. And so this year's Advent was called For God So Loved the World. And so it's kind of a slow fade from blues to greens. And so when I was trying to determine, well, what did I want to make with the Advent, I always have this dilemma. If you watch Knitty Knatty, she too has this similar dilemma of what do you do with your Advents? So I'd recommend going back and checking her out. Last year I got the Knitty McPurly Advent as well, and I made like 4 different projects from that. It was amazing how far that yarn went. So I thought, well, I could probably make a garment with this. Well, what garment do I want to make that I don't have to like manage my yarns as much, but just enjoy the process? And so I came up with the Vellichor. And so here's my version of the Vellichor. It's all bunched up on these needles, so sorry. And so the Vellichor is a, what do you call that? Mosaic knitting. That's the word I'm looking for. Mosaic knitting pattern. And so it's a 4-row repeat, so very easy to memorize. And you're only holding 1 yarn at a time, which is nice. And so you create this just beautiful, just texture. So these are the first 3 colors of the Advent. So here's color number 1, 2, 3. So like I said, it's a slow fade. You're really not going to notice it, until you get into the darker blues and the greens. And super excited for that. So the blue is the Knitty McPurly yarn, and the purple, let me see if I can find it, is also a yarn I picked up from Temu. Did not put it in my Ravelry, so I'll have to update that. It's also a yarn I picked up from Temu. It's more of a sport weight versus a fingering weight, or a light sport, but I thought it worked out pretty well. I'm making the size 5 on this one, with 2.75 millimeter needles for the ribbing, and then 3.25 millimeter for the body. Let me grab that yarn too that I got from Temu. Hang on. So this yarn from Temu is called Lang Yarns Bebe Merino 200. And this color is number 212, I think. It's kind of hard to see, but those are the numbers that are associated with it as well. But what's beautiful about this yarn, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, is that there are flecks of pink and purple in this. So pretty. It's soft but rustic. So it's a rustic soft, but not difficult to work with whatsoever. Doesn't split. It's a 25% nylon and a 75% merino wool. So beautiful yarn. So again, I wanted to try out Temu's yarn. You can get, I got a bag, these come in a bag of 8. And so you can get a lot of good, like I mentioned before, workhorse yarns in brilliant, like solid colors. For pretty inexpensive. So yeah, so that's what that is. And that's my Vellichor. So I'm excited to get to know the knitting community. I would love to know where you're from, so please comment below. Let me know where you're from. And I'll work on so I will add links to my Ravelry pages and whatnot down below. So if you need to find things, go there. You can find me on Ravelry. I am Northwest Knitter 25 on Ravelry. So you can find me there. And I'm working on setting up an Instagram account, although I'm not very active on Instagram, so we'll see how that goes as well. If you would like to email me, you can at northwestknitter25@gmail.com. So, well, I'm looking forward to this next coming year. I have some ideas on the go as to tackling my whips. And then I'm also just anxious to continue to share what I've been learning as I've become a knitter. I started knitting back in 2021, kind of in the later part of 2021. Before that, I was an avid crocheter, only crocheted. I thought, oh, there is no way I'm going to learn to knit. Who holds 2 needles and can accomplish anything? It just seems so slow. But when I figured it out, it was a game changer. So I learned to crochet and knit when I was younger, but just crochet was fast. It was quick. You can get your project off and completed pretty quickly, but it uses a lot of yarn, right? Knitting is more fine, takes a little bit longer, uses less yarn, but it seemed like such a slow process. So the key for me from becoming a crocheter to a knitter was learning to do continental knitting. Because when you crochet, you hold your hook in the hand that you normally write with, and you hold your yarn in your non-dominant hand. When you go to knit, they teach you to knit with your right and then loop, right, with your right. That process seems so tedious and time-consuming and inefficient. So I'm really big on efficiency. I like to get things done pretty quickly. Not done, but work smarter, not harder. So for me, when I learned continental knitting, where I got to hold my yarn in my non-dominant hand and then knit with my right, it clicked and I was off to the races. I adore knitting. I love yarn, as you can see. I love to crochet. I just find it to be such an enjoyable project and process. And I've learned that I'm a process knitter as well. Yes, I want the project in the end, but that's one reason why I have so many whips, is that I'll learn of a new pattern and I'll be like, well, how did they do that? How did they construct that? How did that come? And then I'll start it. And once I figure it out, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I kind of get bored, and then I move on to the next project and I don't finish. So I've quite a few whips I would like to accomplish on completing. And then the other thing is I have a lot of completed projects just kind of sitting that I'm not quite sure what to do with, because I don't really need them all. And so it's like, well, do I donate them? Do I frog them to use the yarn again? Which I really don't need yarn. Do I give them to a local charity? So I'm just curious. What do you guys do with projects that you've completed that you don't necessarily need or need to gift? Or do you have like an organization you give them to? Or yeah, let me know. I look forward to getting to know you as you get to know me. And yeah, welcome to the channel. Happy New Year.